Welcome to the Dear Doc podcast, where we will discuss the business of running a dental practice with a panel of experts. Now, your host, Dr. Christopher Hoffpauir.
Before we get into the show and introduce today's guest, I would just like to thank United Medical Credit for being sponsors of this podcast and of the business of dentistry. As a matter of fact, they have a special offer for business of dentistry members, 0% merchant fees for the rest of the year, and 30% discount for life after that. You can get that special deal by either going to docoffinvestments.com and clicking on the deals section, or by going directly to www.unitedmedicalcredit.com/TBOD. Thanks again, UMC. Hey guys, this is Doc Hoffpauir coming to you again from my home studio here in Alvin, Texas. Today we have got Brett from United Healthcare, and he is going to talk to us, or United Health rather. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the offerings that United Health has for our dentists here in the form of third-party financing. He's also going to talk to us a little bit about some case acceptance guidelines, things that he teaches doctors to do to help them to close more cases. Brett, how the heck have you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a couple months. How's things with you?
Man, it's fantastic. Hopefully you weren't frozen in place with that storm up there. Did that hit you?
No. Yeah, I'm in Las Vegas. So, although we had some snow.
I know, that's why I was talking. I mean, you guys don't get snow all that often.
I know. You guys had snow down in Dallas, right?
We did. Thankfully, I'm in Houston. I'm near Houston, so I didn't get too badly hit with that. But it was cold. It was really cold.
It's been everywhere. It's crazy.
No kidding. Oh man. So, how has United Health been doing? Have you guys have any new programs or anything we need to talk about?
Yeah. So we changed the name from United Medical Credit to United Credit, right? So that's been a few months now, and we always concentrated on just healthcare, mostly dentistry and plastic surgery, but we were getting pinged so much from outside industries, things like even medical tourism, folks who want to take work to other countries because of some reason or another. Sometimes it's cost, but we started to even do things like that where we lend to and fund the practices directly. So that's been pretty cool. We've got into retail a little bit. We've gotten into some relief type of timeshare relief. So it's been pretty cool since we dropped the medical name. But most of what we do is still in dentistry and plastic surgery.
I've got an idea. I still want to talk to you and Matt about. I think I've already talked to him about it, but I want to broach the subject again. I really think that I'd like to help you guys get into the tattoo finance business.
We've had some requests, and so tattoo removal, skin pigmentation, right. those courses, and yeah, I mean, really, there's no limits to what we can do.
And I have to apologize. I always make that mistake. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, and my little hamster wheel is not running in the wrong direction here, you used to be like the VP of United Health, and I always say United Health instead of United Credit whenever I'm talking.
Oh no, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's funny because they all sound alike, right? They all have credit or health or United, but it used to be United Medical Credit. I know you know that for a long time,
right.
And now it's just so it's funny because I'm so used to calling it UC now.
Right, exactly.
So it makes it easy.
Maybe I'll be safe if I just call it UC. So guys, here's the deal. We are actually doing a live podcast for you. And if you have any questions whatsoever about United Credit and United Credit's offerings as a third-party financer in your dental practice, please go ahead and drop those down below. We'll answer them just as quickly as we can, given the time that we have here today. Other than that, first, I just want to invite you, Brett, to talk about anything you want. I know you had a couple things you wanted to discuss. I think it's always great to talk about what makes United Credit a little bit different than the other players in the field, particularly the big dogs, right? Care Credit and people like that.
Yeah.
And for everyone out there, the reason that United Credit is a sponsor of the business of dentistry is because they were for quite a long time the only third-party financer I would allow in my office. We kept Care Credit just for the people who had the Care Credit card and insisted on using it, but we tried to run everything through them because their fees were so much better. It saved us thousands of dollars. So with that, Brett, take it away.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's a good segue. I mean, but really what we do, I mean, we are definitely different than a Care Credit and some of the other folks that are out there. We are a platform. We're definitely a fintech platform. You know, you've probably heard SaaS platform, right? And we are a true waterfall, meaning we do pull the credit here at United. Okay, so when an application comes in, we pull the credit, we direct it. Should it go to our prime lender, our near prime lender, or our subprime lender, or a tertiary lender? So we have multiple lenders on our platform that we partner with, and we make sure that that specific applicant or that specific patient has the best chance of getting an approval at that specific time, given what we see, you know, in their credit. So it is a soft pull, which is really nice. And so there are technically multiple chances to get approved within our waterfall. And that's the benefit of having multiple lenders. So when you think about, and I'll just use, you know, you brought up Care Credit. Care Credit is Synchrony Bank. You're either approved with Synchrony or you're not approved with Synchrony. And it's very binary. With us, you have multiple chances because we have multiple lenders. And I want to be clear too, because it's definitely not a marketplace. It's not like a lending tree where you submit an application and you get back 6 different offers. It starts at the top and works its way down to the bottom.
Fantastic. And, you know, so one of the things that makes that system so amazing, and I'm going to ask you to explain a couple of things. The first one, I'm going to want you to talk about the differences between soft and hard credit pulls and why that's important, because there are some young doctors out there who don't know. I mean, those of us who are a little bit gray in the hair, we all know all about that.
Here. Yeah.
But I want you to talk about that first, and then I have a follow-up question for you.
Sure. Yeah. So it's a soft and hard inquiry. It's important, and it's important that the staff really know so they can explain it. Because I'll be talking to you and say, "Oh, Chris, hey, no, you know, did you want to apply for credit?" And in the back of your head, you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, my credit report, it's either freezed, or I'm going to get dinged, or I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to buy a house. I don't want it to go down 20 points." But really, you know, we have the technology now to check the credit without impacting the credit. And that's the most important thing. We can look, but it's not going to have an impact. Only a soft credit is only you can see it. Whereas traditionally, if someone pulls your credit, everyone could see that it's an inquiry. And I think according to the you know, all the 3 bureaus out there, I think if you have 2 inquiries in a year, it does have a negative impact on your credit. So 2 in 1 year. So if you think, you know, I'm going to go car shopping, for instance, you could pull someone's credit at the Subaru dealership, go down the street to the Lexus dealership, go to your 3rd dealership. All of a sudden, you could technically have 3 pulls. And that can be detrimental. And that's why people worry about it. And so everything that we do here is a soft pull. And then when the intent is to go through with the loan, obviously it does become a hard pull because things do get finalized. But I always tell people it's safe to check, but if the intent is to go through with it, it should be a pretty seamless process.
So there's got to be a Schrodinger's cat joke in there somewhere.
Sorry, what was that?
I said there has to be a Schrodinger's cat joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
We run the mouse past the cat, so we know if the cat's alive or dead. But so the next thing I wanted you to talk a little bit about is the importance of this waterfall, because, you know, we use a lot of jargon in fintech. We use a lot of jargon in dentistry. And a lot of times people smile and nod and really just hope they're going to pick it up by association of, you know, with what you're saying, the context of what you're saying. But I mean, there's a huge impact of this. I mean, Care Credit can finance or will finance. I believe the lowest they would do is 650, but it's usually 750 or above. Is that correct?
I'd probably say like 650, 660, 670, 680. Like right there is sort of your lower end prime. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely a prime bank.
And now, so the fees that you guys are paying to Care Credit whenever they do this finance is based upon that risk. Well, most credit issuers are not going to take a whole lot more risk than that. Whenever you look in the market out at large, what you're going to see is pretty much everyone is going to stop at that 600, 650 number. Now, that's one of the things that makes United Credit very different, and why in my patient population, it was so very important. Let's face it, folks, people who have a whole lot of work to get done, there's usually an inverse relationship between the number of teeth in someone's mouth and the amount of money in their credit account, right? In their checking account. People who need dental work generally don't have a whole lot of wherewithal. And a lot of them have really poor credit, particularly following the housing crisis and what we're doing now, what we're going through now, just as they're finally recovering, they're getting hit with
an unknown right now.
Oh, it's not over. I'm
saying it's an unknown, which, and we've seen things spike right now where really people do not want, even people who have money right now, not want to come out of pocket, for instance, 5 or 10,000. Yes, I have it, right. But what we're seeing right now is I would rather use your money than my money.
Absolutely. Well, rich people are always like that. It's always better to use someone else's money. So
yeah. Or is that smart people?
That's right. Smart people. So guys, the thing is that for a lot of those people, Care Credit and Progressive and, some of these other places that finance large amounts, finance dental treatments unsecured, a lot of them are going to hold you to the fire to get paid. If the patient doesn't pay, they're going to go back on you. That's called a recourse loan. Now, one of the things that makes UC really, really special and such a great fit for us and in my practice is that it's a non-recourse loan, which means if the patient doesn't pay, it's UC's problem. It's not coming back on you.
Yep.
The other thing, and this one was really special for my area, is that they can finance down. I'm gonna lie. I believe it's 450.
Yeah, it's in the 400s, right?
So, yeah. and obviously that's going to depend upon their credit to debt ratio and things like that.
There's
it's not just that goes on there.
It's not just FICO, right? But no, and a couple things you touched on. It's like you were saying. I always say marketplace or waterfall, and it's like you nod and you're like, oh, okay, right. Sounds great, but you really don't know what that is, right?
Their eyes kind of glaze over.
Sure. I mean, and what it is, think about a waterfall. You start from the top and you go all the way to the bottom. If we run your credit profile, if you fit our prime lender's criteria, it stops, it spits out an offer. If for some reason that's not a good fit, it goes to our near prime lender. If that is a good fit, it stops, spits out an offer. If for some reason that's not a good fit, it goes down to our tertiary lender, it stops and spits out an offer. So a couple things. One, we're able to approve a lot more folks than other traditional platforms.
I can say it. He can't, guys.
Yeah. and with that, if you think about, what we went through back in 2008 and now what we're going through here, and a lot of it's just relatively unknown. Like, what is going to happen? Is it a recession? Is it a mild recession? Is there no recession? Is it in certain pockets? I'm not really sure, right? Or a lot of folks aren't sure. But this is the reality. Like, the number hasn't changed. Most folks do not have $500 to come out of pocket for a healthcare expense, and that doesn't change whether it's 2023 or 2020 or going into the future of 2027, right? And so we try to make it as easy as possible for someone to get the stuff that they need and the stuff that they want. And when I say needs and wants, we really do focus on the stuff they need. And I always tell people this, I want braces, but why would you want that? I need the confidence in order to move forward, right? I need the confidence in order to get a better job, to get into the dating pool, to get married, to feel good about myself. That's all needs versus wants. But at the end of the day, it's usually I need it because of an underlying issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. It's actually one of the things that I teach in my treatment planning and treatment acceptance courses. One of the things I really want to put a pin in here is there's a reason why I said at the beginning of this talk that I used UC or UMC at the time as my only financing option other than in-house financing where I took all
Right.
the risk myself, right?
Yep.
And so the reason for that is for the same credit score. Let's say Miss Jones comes in and she wants to borrow $3,000. I send her into Care Credit. I send her into UC. UC is going to charge me less as the doctor for that same loan than Care Credit is going to charge me.
Yeah. I mean, we charge just super, super easy math, right? For $3,000, our most popular plan, a 12-month, no interest. Okay. And the doctor would be charged $180.
Hey guys, this is Doc Hoffpauir, founder of the Business of Dentistry and host of the Dear Doc podcast. Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about one of our sponsors. 4G Dental Labs has been a sponsor of the Business of Dentistry for over 2 years now. They're a family-owned business located here in Houston, Texas. They're fast, they're reliable, but best of all, they provide affordable quality. They're just plain, honest, good people. For our TBOD members, for your first 20 crowns, every fifth one will be free. Contact 4G Dental Labs at 833-682-8901. Again, that's 833-682-8901. Or you can mail or even just stop by. Jeff Guidey, the owner, would be glad to see you.
Okay. On the same thing from our competitors, it's usually $300.
Right.
I mean, and there's no difference. They're both 12 months. They're both these sort of Care Credit does a deferred no interest. We do a no interest or same as cash.
And you get the money when?
The very next day.
If my mics weren't so expensive, I'd drop one right now.
Right.
So guys, here's the deal. Just very, very honestly, United Credit has been a sponsor of the Dear Doc podcast and has been a sponsor of the Business of Dentistry for a long time. They have been very generous with their time and resources for us. And I used them in my practice for since 2017? I think it was 2017.
We started in 2012, I want to say.
Yeah, I didn't use you guys for a couple of years. That executive from Care Credit was still there whenever, starts with a B. I don't want to mention her name, but
That's right.
whenever I started.
It's not the B word that most people are.
Right. No, it's not the B word most of you guys are thinking. But when
Yeah.
she had just started, and I think that was 2012.
Yeah, that could be right.
Whenever it was. Anyways, for years, guys, years and years and years. And I got to the point where I was only using them because I realized how much money I was saving just in financing fees. Now, I'm not a huge advocate for doctors having to pay for the poor mistakes of their patients. But let's face it, in a real world, the economics of it say I can either get no money for doing this treatment, or I can pay $100, or I can pay $300. Would you prefer to pay nothing? Absolutely, every time. But a lot of patients are not in a position to be able to go to a bank and get a loan. A lot of patients need third-party financing that's, initiated in the office.
And the fact that we can do it,
pay a third.
We can do it immediately, right? You can do it. You could diagnose me. I jump in the treatment room, and you say, Brett, go jump right back in the chair, and as the dentist, you're going to have your money tomorrow. You
Absolutely.
can perform the work, and that money's going to show up. If you send someone to a bank, okay, all of a sudden they pass. I hate to say this, but they pass 10 other dentists, right? Don't let them start to, in their head, start to think, can somebody do it for less? Is there another alternative? Will someone else take on the risk? And now I have to go to the bank. Am I going to get a loan? I mean, there's a lot of factors.
Other services out there that don't disclose to you that they're actually recourse lending.
Yeah.
Proceed, guys, is recourse lending. I know a dentist personally who was forced to pay back money whenever the patient didn't pay. They say it's non-recourse. They're lying. So I highly recommend these guys. I usually try to make this super, super exciting, but I'm just being real with you. If you want to close big cases, you need someone that can finance large amounts. More and more, you guys want to go out of network like I did. I'm giving you the cookbook right now. Learn services, learn what I call profit centers that are not covered by PPO insurance. find a way to finance your patients, take some courses in how to communicate with them. You can go to the Dear Doc podcast right now. There's a playlist of all of the information I would charge you to teach you if you took one of my classes. I just want you to be successful. I want you to say, man, that Doc Hoffpauir is one swell guy. He helped to save my practice because I went fee for service, and, you know, I don't know if you owe it all to me, but I want you to be happy. I want you to have more time. I want you to spend that with your family. And I want you to be financially successful. We have some hard times coming. They're harder than you think. If you watch the markets, if you study history, things are going to get bad pretty soon here. Worse. You need someone in your back pocket. You need someone with your back who's going to help your patients get the treatment that they need to get. Because the world's not a real certain place. And UC does that. Anything to follow up on that?
No, well said. I mean, it's one of those things. You can work smarter or harder, right? And these are one of the sort of secret recipes that if I partner with the right folks and I stick to the script and I don't deviate, you will be able to make things easier in your practice and for your employees.
And you don't have to
and for your patients.
Guys. You really don't. Look around.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot of adjustments.
So one of the things that we didn't cover is just how much you guys are able to finance.
Yeah. I mean, really, we see here's the every single person, you know, can do the easy stuff. When I say easy stuff, I mean prime, good credit scores. A person with a certain persona has been paying their bills, and they have their house and they have their car and everything's been paid, and they have 30 accounts and they've never missed a payment, and they have 0 inquiries this year, and those are the easy ones. You know, I tell people, don't fall into the trap. That's not where people need help. That's not where a dentist who owns, 4 operatories and a small practice, that's not where they need the help. Is it nice to get paid the next day on those folks? 100%. But once you start to move down that sliding scale of, the scale starts at 850. Then the next sort of threshold is a 700, and a 700 sounds good, but there are other factors, right? I make a lot of money, but I also spend a lot of money. That debt to income ratio is not as good. Can you afford this monthly payment? And these things are sometimes unexpected. Then you start to go into the 600s, and that's where you start to have some missing payments. Then you go into the 500s, and I will say this: you don't get a 500 FICO by paying all your bills. That's
it's like E.F. Hutton. You have to do it the old-fashioned way. You have to earn it.
Yes, exactly. Right. So we will go into the 400s. Our tertiary lender is really, really good at what they do. They have good plans. They are plans that people can afford. It's what the offices can afford. It's a really, really good program. It's 2 and 3 year type of payoffs, and they loan up to $7,500. And so that can cover a lot of things. So folks with a 500 FICO can get $7,500. That's not something a lot of other lenders can say.
That's life-changing, guys. For people who need help, that is life-changing. For someone who has a discolored number 9 or just got it knocked out and they need to get an implant done, you can change their life and their future, and you can change their fortune. But you have to have the right partners.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's where I'm saying is it's not a big change. You call United Credit, you get signed on. Literally, we could sign people on a day. You could start applications that same day. There's no fee to get started. We don't charge anything. I mean, we really do have good folks who've been doing this for a long time. And so we can be as instrumental as you want to be in the practice, or we can be as hands-off as you'd like us to be in the practice. It's totally up to those folks.
Now, Brett, somebody who's got a stellar credit rating, how much can they get?
25,000.
Okay, 25,000. So that's a lot of dentistry, folks. So the last thing I want to talk about is something that's kind of a soft point for you guys. You don't talk about it a lot, but frankly, I think that your customer service and your practice, I don't remember what you call you call your people that are assigned to practices, but it was always nice when we called, they knew who we were and they were willing to help. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we do have a pretty robust customer service team. I think we have about 24 agents, and they can do anything from help an application, could be a language barrier. And sometimes, I mean, sometimes you just want to know, hey, am I getting paid tomorrow? Right? It's simple as that. But we can cover everything. So we have our customer service agents. We have about 24. I mean, I would say this, we hit over 1,000 Google reviews. I want to say at some point last year, I think we have a 4.9 on Google.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. And I will say this, lending institutions, when you have to give money out, or when you do give money out, the hardest thing to do is get it back. And if you look at other financial institutions, they typically do not have great ratings. And that's because in someone's mindset, oh, I got the money, oh, but now I have to pay it back. And they're usually calling because you have to collect. So the fact that we do have over 1,000 reviews at 4.9 on Google is really, really strong. And that's a testament to our customer service agent reps. And we also have what we call business development managers. Everyone is assigned to a practice. So if you wanted to call and just chit chat, if you had a question, if you wanted to get help in how a treatment presents, again, we can get as involved as you'd like to be. And quite frankly, if you want to be hands off, you can do everything in the practice yourself. You can go from application to funding in a matter of 10 minutes. It doesn't take long. We have what we call end-to-end, no human intervention, but some folks like their hands to be carried sort of along the way, and that's okay too.
Fantastic. Is there anything that I didn't ask you about that I should have, or is there any new news that you want to share, either about the finance world in general or about United?
Yeah, I'll just let you know what we have going on here. We're going to be at the CDA South. That's usually I think that's our first time going, although I've been quite a bit, but that's the California Dental Association. We have a small symposium called Roses and Thorns in Chicago in May. And we've also been getting into more of sleep dentistry, and we've had a really, really good impact there.
That's fantastic. There's not a lot of people who finance a sleep appliance.
Yeah, that's another, it's deemed as because there's medical insurance there. You really do have to know what you're doing. Was that the song To Stop Talking?
I have no idea what that was, but it was somewhat startling. I'll have to track that down in a couple of minutes here.
Yeah, but the sleep appliance for dentists, that's a really good market. Like you were talking about profit centers, you have to know how to do it. You have to know what you're doing. You have to find the right lenders. And like you're saying, that some folks may not finance those, but it's been a good spot for us. And for the patients who need it, it's a certain segment who needs it. If you look at, the three things that you need in life, and sleep is one of them, and breathing's the other. So that we can help with both.
Absolutely. Well, Brett, as always, fantastic having you.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
And I have to apologize about the difference in the presentation today. It's just, honestly, I was talking to some dentists this weekend, and there's so many of them that are hurting. And I've put this message out there time and time again about using UC. And I don't think people are hearing it as much as I would like, because, I mentioned it to a couple of people at the symposium this weekend. And speaking of which, we're having another one in September. It's going to be, I believe we're going to be doing perio. We may also be doing surgical techniques and digital workflow, but you and I can talk about that later if you guys would like to be involved as a sponsor.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there that just don't know you exist. And I feel bad because I've been shouting it from the rooftops. Now I just want to have a heart to heart with you guys. If you're out there and your practice is not doing as well as you would like, or if you would like to get the hell off of the insurance treadmill, these are the guys to help you. Mm-hmm. They're not going to come and hold your hand and tell you what insurance is to drop. Message me. I'll help you for that. I'm not even going to charge you. I want everybody off of insurance. I want you to be successful. So check out UC. It doesn't cost you a dime to sign up. It doesn't cost you a dime to submit anything to them just
Yeah.
to see what they're going to offer your patients?
You will only save money by using United Credit, and you will only make money by using United Credit.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you again for joining us today. This is Dr. Christopher Hoffpauir coming to you from my studio here in Alvin, Texas. And Brett, you wanna give them your best UC send off?
Yeah, no. Thanks for having me. I think the best send off is just to give my information so someone can call me, and if you call me out on anything I said or want to try us. But here's my cell phone number. It's 702-324-1221. It's 702-324-1221. Feel free to text me, call me. If you just want to chat about what the offerings are, or if you really want to put into play, I'm happy to help however I can.
Fantastic. And so that you guys know, whenever UC was first starting, we did have a TBOD deal, but frankly, guys, they offer such low rates now, they can't afford to offer you any better. Just sign up. It's amazing.
Thanks for listening to the Dear Doc podcast, your source for the business and legal questions associated with your dental practice. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dear Doc podcast on all major platforms.